Hello, and welcome to Urban Green, where we spotlight South Sound environmental efforts and showcase different ways to get involved in sustainable living practices. I'm your host, Stacey Ellifrit, and today we're taking a look back at some of our past stories. This special edition is starting off with the Urban Learning segment that first aired in summer 2018, but is still relevant today. Join us as we take another look back at the efforts around preventing pollution in the Thea Foss Waterway.
You wouldn't know it now, but the shimmering blue waters of the Thea Foss were once covered in oil sheens and coal tar deposits.
In 1981, Commencement Bay joined the list of federal Superfund sites.
Once considered one of the most polluted sites in the nation, a massive cleanup took place, and the waterway recently celebrated its 10-year anniversary of clean water. The Environmental Services Department is dedicated to keeping this waterway clean, and monitoring the stormwater requires a number of moving parts.
We have 7 locations around the foss that we monitor. For deploying for the event, we will take out fresh, clean jars, ice, new batteries if we need them, and we will set up the site with that new equipment, download whatever data has been collected since the last time we were there. Ready? We'll double check those and set those, and we'll set a pacing determined by how large the storm event is.
A minimum of 0.2 inches of rain has to fall for the team to go out for sampling. Crews are looking for contaminants that are measured by the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permits.
Obviously, any sort of contaminants, so related to the Superfund cleanup on the Foss Waterway, we want to be sure that we're not recontaminating the foss. And all kinds of metals, mercury, PAHs, phthalates. Yeah, there's a huge list. And with the Neptus sampling, the list grew because everything related to the foss is a certain set of parameters that we're looking for, but then every 5 years there's a new Neptus permit. So they may have you look at new things, or it's changing every 5 years, but so these are also our Neptus sites, so we have parameters that are specific to that permit.
After a qualifying rain event, the team will then go out and collect those jars, cap them and label them, where it's processed in the Center for Urban Water's Sample and Receiving Lab, and then hand it off for further study.
When we first receive a sample, first thing we like to do is check to make sure that all of the paperwork is in order. And our sample custodian will double check, make sure everything is labeled properly, the samples are preserved, they're in the right container. And when everything is in order at that point, the samples then get distributed to various areas in the laboratory for processing. It's a big storm event. We have a lot of samples. The process can take a little while to check in all the different containers. We could get 50, 60, 70 different containers for an event.
Some samples are straightforward and some are more complicated. Depending on the analysis, the sample can go through many different processes.
Well, we're looking for a variety of chemicals. Some of them are indicators, broad indicators of water quality. We're looking for a short list of metals: mercury, lead, cadmium, zinc, copper, metals that have been shown to be a concern in the waterway. So a lot of it's with regard to the stormwater, what typically we might find in stormwater. You might find some motor oil, you might find some diesel, benzene associated with gasoline, and various metals, from some wear metals from automobiles, etc. They're typically found in stormwater runoff, and those are the constituents of primary concern that we're looking for.
When these results are compiled, they look for a number of things, including trends in contaminants, and if best management practices, such as sweet sweepers, are being effective. A report is then created from these findings.
When we get the final report from the lab, we're looking at it to make sure that we're managing our stormwater system effectively and that we don't have any problems that we need to follow up on. The data that we collect is also submitted to the regulatory agencies, both the Environmental Protection Agency and the Department of Ecology, to meet our regulatory reporting requirements.
When something is found that shouldn't be there, the inspectors in the environmental compliance section will investigate further.
We look at the data to first find whether or not we have an immediate problem. Like, for example, recently we had some high solids in the line that we needed to send an inspector out to follow up on. Then we also look at it to look at kind of more longer term problems. So we look at not only just the last few points of data, but also in the case of the Foss Waterway, we're looking at it for 16 years. We're looking at the trends for what the data is showing us, where we might need to follow up and where things are looking good, make sure, again, we're managing our stormwater system effectively.
Okay, you good?
Sometimes it's an immediate issue, like a construction site that isn't properly managing their stormwater, or someone who's washing something and the bubbles are coming down the line. Other times it may be a longer term issue, and we have inspectors that go out and find where those contaminants are coming from and help that property owner resolve the issue.
Residents can do their part too. Remember, only rain goes down the drain.
To find out more on how to prevent stormwater pollution, visit the city site. Up next, the Urban Tabletop segment from the Winter 2017 edition will take us back to Happy Belly, where we get a lesson on what to do with food that commonly goes to waste.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Johnson. I'm the chef and owner of Happy Belly in downtown Tacoma. And today I'm going to show you how to make a spicy red curry using the bits and ends that would otherwise be thrown away. Everybody likes to peel their carrots. You honestly don't have to, as long as you clean them very well. But traditionally, because people do, what you would do is just peel like normal, save all of your peelings, gather them together, and put them in the blender. So I have in here already some carrot bits, onion bits, a little bit of the red bell pepper. We're going to blend that all up, and that's going to become part of our sauce. I have here all of the celery parts that normally would also get thrown away after you wash your celery. Once you have your carrots nice and peeled, you can go through and cut them. You want to make sure you cut your carrot in half. Give yourself a nice flat area to work with so that it will stay stable on your cutting board. The thicker your pieces are, the longer they're going to take to cook. Your pieces are never going to be exactly the same, and that's okay. So after you have your large pieces cut that you're not going to blend, you just put them into your cooking pot. And then red bell peppers. You cut the top off, scoop out the little guts. This little part you can't really reuse for anything, but you can compost it, and you should. Clean all the little seed parts out, and then just start cutting. When you're doing your vegetables, you want to make sure that everything is not the exact same size. The purpose for this is it provides texture when you're eating, and it also looks nice. These aren't going to get blended, so we're going to put them in the cooking pot. And now you have the top part. Pretty much everybody throws this away, and you really shouldn't. Clean your seeds out. Then break this baby open. Your green stem part that connects it to the actual plant, that's going to get composted. Your top pieces, you can either chop them up and put them into the cooking pot, or, like I've done here, you can put them into the blender. And then onions. These lovely green onions, they always have a little bit of pieces that are kind of wilted. This guy's broken. Those, instead of throwing them away, we're going to turn them into part of the sauce. So the white part on an onion, on green onions especially, it typically gets tossed. Well, this green part here is great for in salads or raw. The white part is also very beneficial, provides still a great flavor. That is going to go into our blender and become part of the sauce. I already have the sauce started for the actual curry. We're going to use part of that sauce into the blender so that all of the veggies will actually move around and blend. You can also do this with a little bit of water from your recipe, or with coconut milk, or veggie stock, or any type of liquid that's part of your recipe. Ideally, you're just looking for liquid to make sure that your blender is going to move, that the ingredients in it are not going to be cement. All right, there we go. So what I've done now is taken all of the parts that would have been essentially trash or compost, and I've created a really lovely sauce here. This not only acts as added flavor and nutrients and saves you money by utilizing something that, probably would have been garbage, but it also is going to act as a thickening agent. Many sauces, they want you to use flour or cornstarch to help thicken it. You can skip that, and you can do what I've done here. With the curry, it's traditionally served just with rice. We at Happy Belly, we choose fresh spinach. And the reason that we've chosen spinach, it's a really nice, easy, versatile green. The heat from the brown rice and then the heat from the curry, it wilts it just a little so that it is still providing a really nice, almost raw, fresh green, but it softens it up a little bit for you too. This dish starts out as a vegan and vegetarian dish. It can be topped with smoked salmon, with chicken. You could do it with pork or with tofu. Back to these lovely green onions. They make a beautiful garnish and provide a really nice visual appeal, as well as some nice added flavor at the end. And this is how you make spicy red curry using bits and ends.
To find out more about Happy Belly, a location that is currently open for takeout options, visit their website. After the break, we revisit a water treatment system located at Point Defiance that was designed to improve local water quality. But first, the Urban Quick Tip from the fall of 2018 will once again demonstrate how to make a natural garbage disposal cleaner. Welcome back. Now we'll dive back into an innovative water treatment system that has been treating stormwater since early 2016.
A transformation is happening at one of Tacoma's key community resources, Point Defiance Park. These changes are part of Metro Parks Tacoma's Waterfront Phase 1 project that's imagining an even more accessible, active, and flourishing waterfront.
Point Defiance Park is looking to utilize some space that was underutilized before, and we are completing the trail from Tacoma to Defiance. And so we're the Tacoma Dome. There's a waterfront trail currently that's going along Ruston Way and until you got to about Point Ruston, and then we put in an interim trail, but we never finished the connection to Point Defiance Park. And so now we are finishing that connection. We're redoing the trail so it's an accessible grade, and then we are building a bridge into Point Defiance Park. The bridge will also go over a new parking lot, and then once that boat trailer parking lot is cut out, we needed some place to put the dirt. And so a lot of that dirt is going out onto the peninsula to cap the peninsula, and then on top of that cap we'll build a park. So the peninsula will become a park.
As part of Phase 1, Metro Parks and the city joined together to host an innovative water treatment system designed to improve Puget Sound water quality.
In about 2011, Metro Parks Tacoma approached us about putting a stormwater facility here at the park as they redeveloped their Waterfront Phase 1 project. So we looked at the opportunity and applied for a grant from the Department of Ecology.
Located at the park entrance, the placement of this facility is laying the groundwork for the next stages of the waterfront project.
When we have our new facilities built on this side, we wanted people to be able to see this in action. It fits well into the hillside, and it's going to work really well with our new proposed facilities.
A common misconception is that stormwater gets treated at the central wastewater treatment plant, when the reality is that Tacoma has a separated system where stormwater goes directly untreated into local waterways. But this facility is working to make that water cleaner before it enters the Puget Sound.
The water comes into these large pools and then flows into our treatment cells and then is filtered before it comes into this swale here.
Stormwater runoff is routed from streets and properties from as far south as North 30th Street. The goal of this 5,500 square foot facility is to capture and filter the worst stormwater pollutants.
The plants and the mulch in the treatment cell are like our first line of defense. They capture the larger sediment and the pollutants, and then it's filtered through a proprietary media, and then it comes out through a pipe and into the swale.
Pollutants that get filtered can include fluids from vehicles, lawn care chemicals, pet waste, and soaps from car washing. Anything that ends up on the ground can end up contaminating stormwater.
All of our roads, our driveways, and houses, when it rains, the pollution that's on them is collected and brought into our storm sewer system.
This facility treats 756 acres, making it one of the larger facilities in the area. But it's not the only one working to make local waterways cleaner.
So the City of Tacoma built one in partnership with the University of Washington, Tacoma on the Prairie Line Trail that treats about 42 acres. And Kitsap County, they just recently built one at Manchester Park, and that treats about 100 acres.
The design was developed to be open channel flow for easier study of the filtration process. The layout tells a story where you can visually see polluted water coming into the large pools, get treated, and then come out into the natural swale, creating a learning opportunity for residents and students.
The Science and Math Institute is integrated into Point Defiance Park, and so they as well have access to water sampling and other things to see the science behind what exactly this thing's doing.
Waterfront Phase 1 will be finished in the fall of 2017. But residents don't have to wait until then to see the stormwater treatment facility in action.
For more information on the Point Defiance Stormwater Project, visit the Metro Parks Tacoma website. Up next is the Urban How-To. This do-it-yourself segment from the Spring 2017 show will once again demonstrate how setting up a rain barrel is easier than you think.
Hi, my name's Dan Borba, and I've been making, selling, and installing rain barrels in the Tacoma, Seattle area since 1999. Today we're doing an EnviroHouse how-to workshop on how to install a rain barrel. First thing we're going to start with are some blocks. And I use just standard size 8x8x16 normal cinder blocks. And these are just easy to get, and they can hold the weight. The barrels full weigh about 500 pounds, so it's important to have a good solid base and get them nice and level and set. And I use 4 of the normal gray blocks, and I'll run two one way, and then the second 2 I run the other, and that just gives it a little bit more stability. Get it nice and level. Sometimes you can use pea gravel to kind of level it out too. But the main thing is to get it nice and set and level. Usually under your downspout, but it can be to one side or the other, even around the corner. It doesn't have to be directly there, but it's probably easiest if it's right in front of the downspout. So I get the blocks nice and set, and then the barrel, this is one of mine, the latest one I've been making. But get that right on top of the blocks, and then just about 6 to 9 inches above the top of the barrel with what I call my gutter liberation tool, also known as the hacksaw. I cut right into the downspout. And the one thing to watch out for is just to keep an eye that that the downspout doesn't slip on you. But basically, just cut into the downspout, and with the flex elbow, these are, you know, usually about $2.50, $3, but they work really well for just standard size downspouts. And it'll slip right on, and you can put a screw in there and just direct it right over the top of the barrel. So you're live at this point. You're harvesting next time it rains. And then as the barrel fills up, there's a good overflow here. There's actually a pipe that comes up to the top of the barrel. So when the water gets up to right up to the top, it'll automatically flow down the pipe and then out. And with just a regular size hose, you can direct it where you want it to go, back into the drain or into your yard or into another container even. And the spigot at the bottom as well, that fits a regular size hose, and it's a ball valve, so it's a non-restrictive flow. So it's good when you're working with rain catchment, that you've got sort of large, you know, non-restrictive flows wherever you can. If you got a couple connected or just coming out of the spigot, it's good to have a ball valve. Thanks very much, and happy harvesting.
These how-tos were created in partnership with the EnviroHouse Free Workshop Series, designed to support healthy, sustainable homes and gardens. For a full listing of online workshops, check out the city site. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Urban Green as we look back on some important topics from shows past. I'm Stacey Ellifrit with a wish for everyone to stay healthy and stay safe.